All right, Herb, let's go back December 5th, 25 years ago.
Yeah. On December 5th, 25 years ago, I walked into Dan Enright's office. He said to me, "Tonight has been the night appointed for you to lose." I said, "What do you mean?" And he went to a blackboard in his office, and he said, "We have a thing called a plateau. We know how far, because we read the ratings, a show is going. If we see there has been no growth in, let's say, for example, 2 or 3 weeks, it's our obligation to cut you off and have a new champion." I said to him, "Does it have to be this way?" He said, "Yes, this is inexorable. This is the way it has to be." I shrugged my shoulders and said to him, like a jerk, "Exactly what do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, as you can tell from what I discussed with you, we want you to take a dive." I said, "How, where, and when, or why?" He said, "As I told you before," and he showed me the thing on his office blackboard again, "you're on a plateau right now. We haven't been moving forward enough in the ratings. We've got to get a more desirable champ than you." And if you check the testimony, incidentally, by Van Doren himself, he was approached by the producer and told, "Herb Stempel is becoming a pain in the neck to the average viewer. We're going to make you the new champ tonight," if you have read the record. And that's what he said.
How did you feel that night, walking out on the stage knowing they thought you were a pain in the neck, a mental sponge, or whatever?
Yeah, whatever they wanted to call me is really irrelevant. The point was, I walked out there and I was saying to myself, as a matter of fact, I remember sitting in my apartment on Wednesday afternoon and saying, "Herb, damn it, you're going to have to take a dive tonight," because the man on WNBC Channel 4 said, "Can Herb Stempel go over $100,000 tonight?" And I got very angry watching it, because I said, "No, he's not going to go over, because he's going to take a dive tonight."
Take it from that point. When you walked out on that stage, what were you thinking?
I was thinking whether I had enough courage to double-cross them.
You didn't.
I know I didn't, but that's really what I was thinking about. I could have done it, really, but the point is, it would have made a lot of my relatives, friends, and other people feel very bad had I not taken a dive and told them later what happened. I couldn't exactly decide what to do that evening.
The first part of that show, you came off and made a statement saying, "I hope I can win."
Exactly. And as I'm telling you, they were showing every hour and a half hour on NBC. They were saying, "Can Herb Stempel top $100,000 tonight?" And I used to say, in fact, I said that evening, "No, he cannot, because he's going to take a dive tonight."
You used to have to call Jack Barry Mr. Barry,
Of course, which was all fraudulent, of course.
and he always called you Herb.
Exactly, because he met me many times when, you see, what the funniest part of it all, as I said before, I was asked earlier in this interview whether Barry knew what was going on. And I said very bluntly, when I used to ask Dan Enright this, he would say to me, "Pay attention to your lessons and forget about Jack Barry." That's the answer I used to get from him. In other words, I used to say, "Does he know I'm fixed?" And I said to him, he said to me, "Pay attention to your lessons," he said, very, very casually, "and don't worry about Jack Barry."
Picture yourself back in that isolation booth, 25 years ago. As you say, they've turned the heat up, your sweat pouring off of you.
Exactly.
You know the answers.
Yes.
You know what's coming.
Yes. I just could not get myself to double-cross these people. Even though they were double-crossing me, believe it or not, I could not get myself to double-cross them. I could have given the correct answer and then said, "I quit."
You put on a great act.
Exactly. At this point, as I said, I could have answered correctly. Barry had no other option but to say I was correct. Van Doren had lost. And I would have said, "I quit." They would have hated my guts as it was, anyhow. But I was weak, in other words. I frankly could not get myself to say, "I quit." I could have gone on further, but I knew I was going to lose, which I did. But I could have won the money, knocked out Van Doren, and then said, "I quit."
And he wouldn't have ended up on the cover of Time magazine.
Exactly.
Would you have ever ended up there?
Hardly. I didn't have a father named Mark Van Doren. In fact, I didn't have an uncle, as I said before, who wrote a tremendous biography and won the Pulitzer Prize about Benjamin Franklin either. It's a literary family. He was even asked this many times. They said, your mother is so-and-so, your father is Mark Van Doren, and so forth, and you are a member of the Van Dorens. They weren't about to grab a poor kid from Queens and say, you have to be on the Time cover, or the Life cover, whatever at that time. It wasn't going to happen. And this is how I felt, to be very honest with you, that evening. I knew I could have double-crossed them, as I said before, but I did not.
How did you feel? I mean, visualize that videotape, which I'm sure you've seen many times.
I've seen it. I saw it in Washington to begin with, yeah.
Back in 50s.
Yeah, back 59, yes.
You're watching yourself there.
I felt like a schnook. If you understand the word, I felt like a schnook. I felt very silly because, frankly, I could have, one word for me, saying I quit would have disturbed and wrecked their whole strategy. I could have wrecked the program at that point, but I didn't. And I knew I could have done it. I could have hollered in front of 50 million people, this is a fraud, the program's fixed, don't watch it. They might have taken me to a loony bin for a few days, but I could have done this, frankly. And I could have come out smelling like roses, as the old saying goes, but I didn't do it. What might have been, obviously, this is all retrospective, 25 years ago. Today, I know I would have done it. 25 years ago, I'm not sure, but I didn't do it. And that's something which, retrospectively, once again, I don't know whether I'm sorry, happy, whatever. All I know is I did not do it.